Recently, someone on Reddit asked an interesting question. Why don't young Americans romanticize Paris the way older Americans do? And a lot of the answers pointed to the same idea. Maybe Paris didn't suddenly get worse. Maybe the way young people see Paris has changed. For older Americans, Paris was never just a normal city. It came from movies, novels, travel magazines, and advertisements. The Eiffel Tower, the Seine, sidewalk cafes, sunsets, love, art. In their imagination, Paris almost became romance itself. So for many people, going to Paris was not just a vacation. It was a way to prove that a dream was real. But younger people are not seeing that same version of Paris anymore. Before they even buy a plane ticket, they have already seen the other side of the city on TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, and travel guides. Crowded metros, tourist scams, expensive bills, tiny hotel rooms, and endless complaints about how reality does not match the filter. Older generations arrived in Paris and then discovered it was a real city. This generation finds out before they even leave. That is the biggest difference. The old Paris was packaged by movies and advertisements. Today's Paris is being unpacked by tourist videos, comment sections, and warning posts, so young people are not necessarily less romantic. And they are not naturally more cynical. They just learn earlier that Paris is not a fairy tale. It is a real city where real people live. And real cities are not supposed to look like postcards every single day. Some people in the comments said it pretty well. Paris absolutely has beauty. It has museums, architecture, history, food, and a city atmosphere that is hard to copy. But it can also be dirty, chaotic, expensive, and disappointing if your expectations are too high. Both things can be true. The problem is that Paris has been romanticized for too long. When a city is turned into a dream, reality starts to feel like an insult. You expected the Paris from the movies, but what you might actually get is waiting in line, traffic, bad smells, expensive bills, and a dying phone battery. Paris did not lie to you. The version of Paris you saw before going was simply incomplete. And here's the more interesting part. Young people have not stopped being romantic. They have just moved their fantasies somewhere else. Older generations romanticized Paris, Rome, and London. Today, younger people might romanticize Tokyo, Seoul, Kyoto, Iceland, or Mexico City. Paris used to dominate the idea of somewhere far away. But now, there are too many versions of far away. The algorithm creates new dreams every day, and it also destroys old ones every day. So the most interesting part of this Reddit question is not whether Paris is good or bad. It is how a city becomes a myth, and how the internet breaks that myth apart. In the past, movies, magazines, and tourism ads told you Paris is worth dreaming about. Now, millions of ordinary videos, comments, and complaints remind you Paris is also just a real city. A city is not a theme park. It does not stop functioning just to protect a tourist's romantic fantasy. You can find beauty in Paris. You can also be disappointed by it. You can love it. You can dislike it. But maybe the thing we need to let go of is the idea of a Paris that is always elegant, always romantic, and always postcard perfect. Paris is not dead. Only the myth died. The version of Paris that never had to be personally verified. Paris did not get worse. The filter broke.